Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this year's Olympia. Unfortunately, we're not going this year, but we were just
Yeah,
talking about that. We were
yeah.
gonna take our money for, we are gonna take our money and go, but not gonna happen.
I've never even been to Vegas.
Wow. Yeah.
So the
I
first time
mean,
I go, it's got to be in Olympia.
yeah, for sure. It's worth going to. I wasn't sure like how I was gonna feel about it like when we were there because we're sober and we don't really party, so we were like the first people in bed. Like we were going to bed when people were probably going out. But I mean, it was cool. It was really cool. Like the Olympia was amazing. It was definitely something different to see it live. I mean, I'm sure you've been to shows, right?
Yeah. Pro
Yeah.
shows.
So it's yeah. Pro shows are cool. Like there's a different aura there than at a like a regional show. But
Yeah,
yeah, Vegas is cool, man. It's expensive though. It's very expensive, and there's everything you could imagine there. I mean, it's all within like walking distance, but walking distance is like far as hell. Like it takes forever. It's a maze. We got lost actually. Like walking from one point to another. It was just because they take you all over the place to avoid like highways and stuff. But yeah, man.
crazy. It's less than a week away at this point,
I know.
right?
I can't believe it this quick.
Prejudging Friday.
Seems like I was there.
Crazy, crazy.
um, yeah. So, what about you? What are your thoughts on Classic at the Olympia this year?
I think it's gonna come down to, it's gonna be tough, right? In my opinion, to beat Breon is gonna be very difficult because he's the champ, right? And he's
Yeah.
put in work. Looking at what he's posting, it looks like he's been putting in some serious work. He did his homework. He's got Chris Cormier on his side. He was out.
Yeah.
He was out with the Camel crew,
Yeah.
working out there with those guys, and that's a nice competitive environment. Where
Yeah.
they're basically
For sure.
in. Yeah, I mean they're like in a training camp for bodybuilding. It's wacky.
Yeah.
Imagine if and you and I, just to let everyone know, like the reason me and Rory ended up even speaking was because I saw similarities in me and him that we're both fathers and we're both competitors, right?
Yeah.
So that was something cool to me to see somebody turn pro that has a young child. I got two young boys
Yeah.
myself, so it was very interesting to see that. So just
Yeah.
like you had when you were prepping and it was your daughter's birthday,
Yeah.
well, I started prep my first son's birthday, and tomorrow we have my other son's party.
Oh man.
So no cake
You
for
gonna be
one
cutting
and
the
two
cake?
party. No,
Are you gonna
I'm
be
gonna
cutting
be
the cake?
passing them
Yeah.
out, cutting them.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
That
it's
was
pizza.
torture.
It's pizza at the party, so I'm not too concerned with eating it because I'm not
Yeah.
really a huge pizza fan. But the cake part, that's definitely my thing. But
Yeah, I had the knife in my hand and it had like the icing on it, and I was like, I want to lick this so
well,
bad. Just want to lick it at least. Just give me that. But I didn't do it. I was so proud too. I called Justin. I was like, I didn't even lick the knife. He
so
was like, okay, good. Go back
yeah,
to
yeah.
go to cardio.
But
Um,
I think the Olympia is going to be an interesting thing. I mean, it really depends on what the judges are looking for at this show, and I think the lineup is going to be very interesting this year because you have guys in there that you didn't have last year. You got Regan and Henry, who are former open bodybuilders and top open bodybuilders. Regan won a
yeah,
pro show, so now you insert them in, and the lineup changes, and that changes everything. From competing in shows. I mean, sometimes
for
the
sure.
lineup favors you, and sometimes it hurts you. I've been in lineups where I'm the most conditioned guy, but I'm the smallest guy by
Yep.
15, 20 pounds. And you
Yeah.
get blown away, and there's nothing you can do about it, even though you're
Yeah.
because you just look like a twig. Not that any of these guys are going to look like twigs, but that height and the weight difference, it is in proportion, unlike open bodybuilding. It is in proportion, but still that height, I think, is going to really start to play a role in some of the shots, especially the front double.
Yeah.
I think that may start to play a role, especially if the first call out has 4 of the 6 as the taller guys.
Yeah.
If it's Arash and granted, George Peterson can stand next to these guys all day long because his back is, I mean, the other day they put up a picture. I think Justin put it up. Justin, by the way, guys, is Justin Miller, who's Rory's coach. And it was of George's back.
Yeah.
And
His back.
first thing I thought when I saw the picture was Lee Haney. I mean,
Yeah.
he is looking like a serious open guy right now.
Yeah.
And as far as his density and his maturity in the muscle. So he's gonna be in that mix for sure. I think he was third last year, right?
What's crazy is that he's that conditioned right now, and that's why I think he's going to
Without
be
pulling
very,
water.
very dangerous, because once he dries out, he's going to be like a whole nother animal too. George is the type of guy too that like literally you can watch him change over the course of a day. Like, you know, it's wild. He's a total freak in nature. But Arash is like that too. I mean, I talk about these guys because I know them personally, and I've seen them, like, you know, a little bit more detailed prep updates throughout, you know, last year with George and this year at the Arnold with Arash. And Arash was close with Breon at the Arnold, and I feel like they both improved from there. So it's going to be very interesting for sure. And then you also got guys that are kind of overlooked right now, but a guy like David Hoffman, who is a total freak. I don't know if you know him that much.
No.
He took, I believe he took second at New York Pro this year. I believe he's German. He's a pretty tall guy too, but he gets super shredded and he's like ultra hard. He's like kind of like a Dorian. A classic version of Dorian. He's very, very, very hard as nails. But there's a lot of guys like that are like, you know, kind of lost in the mix, but that could show up and really turn some heads.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and that's really, to me, that's the most impressive part about Classic, because you can sit here and we can keep naming people, right? And you have no idea who some of these people are, right? They came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in open.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't really happen in 212 that frequently. It happens every now and then. You'll get a guy from overseas that you've never seen before pop in and he's the new thing. But in Classic, a lot of these guys, even at the pro shows, they're popping here, and you see these guys get the pro cards, you know, and you're like, who's this guy? I saw Steve Larius win the New Jersey States at Keene University, right?
Yeah.
He's at the show. He wins the show. And I remember, because I'm in the audience, I'm with my buddy because a friend of mine was competing. And I looked over at him and I go, dude, thank God I didn't do this show. This guy's pro ready. I mean, he's not even pro ready. I said to myself, he's Olympia ready. And sure enough, he's in there too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's wacky.
That show
These guys are coming out of nowhere.
That show was like not even fair. I've never even seen that before. They actually called him out off stage in first call outs by himself. They were like, okay, we're done with you.
You're done. Yeah, get
out of the way. We need to look at everybody else now.
Yeah.
Like, he was very impressive at that show for sure.
Yeah.
And he's another friend of mine too. You know, he's I think he's training with Neil Hill now.
Yeah.
And I wish him all the best. But you know, hopefully everybody comes in good shape and everybody puts on a really good show, because it's going to be very, very special if that happens, you know?
Yeah.
So
for sure. If you guys have any questions too, if you guys have any questions that are viewing, by all means, please feel free to ask them. We'll answer them. Someone said Bumstead is going to be a threat. Yeah. We didn't even mention Bumstead. He's on that taller side too. He'll definitely be a threat. No doubt about that. Yeah. He was in that top last year. He looks great. Looks like he put on some size, thickness. Definitely. Canada's got some crazy bodybuilders coming out, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys from the Middle East too that are going to be very, very dangerous soon. Like out in Europe, they have some like really, really crazy guys that are not even pro yet, because they're just so competitive out there. You know, I see some of our shows and I'm like, man, like if I was over in one of those other shows, I'll be like, man, maybe I wouldn't have turned pro. But I mean, that's just like my own I guess criticisms or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like there's going to be some really good guys coming over. I had another I had a couple other questions. One was calf training, of course. Everybody wants to know like what I do to train calves. And I went over it briefly, and I'm going to go over it here briefly just so everybody knows. like when I train my calves, and I don't really do it too much anymore. I did train when I first started going to the gym. This is talking back in high school. I always had naturally strong legs and calves because I played soccer. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, and I wrestled in high school, so I just had strong legs and my calves in particular. So I would walk up to whatever machine I could do the most weight on, and I would do it just to impress people. So I would always do the calf raises. I would just do calf raises. Like every time I went to the gym, that's what I would do. And I don't know if they built from there, but for over the years, I've learned to stretch my calves a lot. In the morning, I stretch. I stretch before training them, and after training them, and also between sets. I feel like that's a huge benefit that people don't really take advantage of. I try to do it with other muscle groups too, because I feel like it does probably promote more muscle growth through like the stretching of the fascia and getting more blood in the muscle. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's just all about as heavy weight for as many reps as I can. That's pretty much what my mindset's been with calf training. I mean, you got to like really destroy your calves. Just like if you're going to destroy your legs, like you use your legs every day. So doing a couple calf raises with like a 45-pound plate to me isn't going to really do much. So I just got to do like as much as possible. And that's what if I was going to train somebody on calves, I would make it so they couldn't walk afterwards. They kind of would be like, no, you're not getting off until, you can't walk pretty much. But that's pretty much my advice with it. I mean, you got to kind of force growth with it. I had another question that was very simple, but I told somebody I would answer it. Why are classes for physique and classic lettered in terms of like class A, class B, class C? And they're lettered basically because due to height. The more people that are entered into the show, the different, like they'll break it up into different ways. But I'm not sure exactly how many letters there are with physique, but I remember like I think it was figure at North Americans, they had like up to H or I. Yeah. So there's like, if there's enough competitors, they'll go up pretty high in letters. And I know they do the same thing with men's physique, but with classic physique, it's only A, B, C, D at national shows. So,
yeah.
But those are just two questions I told people I would answer on here because I was like rushed, and so I wanted to answer them.
Someone else wants to know, how did you get started? Like, how did you start lifting, bodybuilding? Tell that story because that's an interesting story.
Okay, so I don't know how many people know this on here, but I've had issues when I was, younger. With drugs and alcohol, and I ended up going to rehab, and I got sober, and I actually had issues with an eating disorder too that had kind of stemmed in high school during wrestling and manifested itself over the next few years throughout my 20s. And so I guess it's like almost 5 years ago now. I had gotten sober, and at the time, my sponsor had suggested that I join the gym with him, and I had gotten my tax return, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go join the gym. I went to the mall, and I got new shoes, and I got like a gym bag and a membership, and I went and joined the gym with him, and yeah, he's the one that started me. He's like, he actually passed away since then, but he like was 5'8", like 140 pounds, like really skinny dude. And I wasn't much further ahead of him, but he's the one that got me started in lifting. And ever since then, I just fell in love with it. People would tell me like, I didn't ever have any, there's another question on here. If it was a goal of mine, how long it was a goal of mine to be an IFBB pro. And like, I never had that as a goal or an intention. Nor did I maybe even think it was possible at first, but I just knew I really enjoyed training, and I knew that it was driving me into something positive, and that if I continued it, I would probably continue to have a good feeling with it. So since I started training and I got a little bit more serious with my nutrition and everything, I just got bigger and bigger, obviously, and I got over this eating disorder that basically was with me for the past 15 years, and I could never get over it. So bodybuilding, as corny as it may sound, it really did save my life and gave me a new life. So was it a goal of mine to be an IFBB pro? No. And like I said, I didn't even really consider it to be possible until it was right in front of me. Holy shit, I'm doing this. I can actually get this. And so I made it a goal basically last year to just go and do national, or to do Team U, and just see how well I could do. I wanted to win. I wanted to win overall. So I didn't fully succeed in my goal, but this will do just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of you guys may not be from the East Coast or even from the U.S. The universe, I think this year when Rory won the show, it was in June, 1,400 competitors roughly.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Class B was
massive.
I think there was 38 guys in Class B.
Yeah.
Class A was huge too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I think there was 30 something guys too.
Yeah. Yeah. And prior to that, 2017, that was your first show, the Atlantic States.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I did that show with Rory, different classes, but subsequently we were both there. So that's how, just to give you guys a heads up, 2017, he did his first bodybuilding show. 2018, he turned pro.
Yeah. So it's possible.
Let that sink in for a minute. And it wasn't like you just started lifting weights in 2017. How many years were you training?
Well, it was I've been training now for just over 3.5 years. It was in 2015, April 2015. That's when I got my tax return and I joined the gym. I mean, I had been working out a little bit, and when I say working out, we did when I was in this rehab. I got out of that rehab in December, or what was October of the prior year in 2014. And when I was in there, we had broomsticks and we were curling buckets of rocks. That's how we lifted. You weren't allowed to lift in there. So we kind of made do with whatever we could, but I was by no means even getting big. I was just kind of getting fat in there. Eat cake.
When did you and Justin link up?
That was right before Atlantic States. It was in, I want to say early March of 2017. So I think I was 11 weeks out or 10 weeks out, somewhere around there. When we first hooked up, it was the end of March, mid-March or something. So it was the weekend of the Arnold, Australia, because I went there initially. I went to Bev's initially, not to meet Justin and not to seek out a coach, but to have Steve take a look at me, because I thought I was pretty lean. I thought I was 215 at that time. And I thought I was pretty lean, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make the weight for Classic, and I wanted his opinion. And thank God he wasn't there, because, I mean, I don't think he would have ripped into me, but I think he would have looked at me and been like, dude, you can definitely make Classic. He would have kind of laughed at me. But in the time that I was there, I ended up meeting Steve Lorius, and he kind of directed me to Justin. He said, you should probably get a coach, man. He's like, it's gonna help you for sure. He's like, what about posing? Have you ever posed before? What do you know about that? Because Steve Lorius had been a pro in a different federation before he joined the NPC, and so he knew quite a bit. And he ended up directing me towards Justin. And after I saw Justin with George there, I was like, all right, I'll listen to anything you have to say. 'Cause George was training at the time for a New York pro, and I saw him, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm like, man, he is an animal. And when he told me his weight, I was like, maybe I'm in the wrong sport. I was like, maybe I shouldn't do classic, because
Yeah.
he didn't look like he could possibly weigh what he did. But I was like, this guy's pro. I mean, maybe one day I can look like that. So, but yeah, it was cool, man. It was ironic how it worked out, because like the stars kind of aligned and brought me to Bev's on the right day. And I met the right people, and they directed me to on the right path. And here I am. And I'm, definitely grateful that everything worked out the way it did. Because, I mean, if I had done that show myself, it probably would have been my last show, honestly. I mean, because I really had no knowledge of what bodybuilding was. I mean,
Right.
just asked me to hit my poses, and I was like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, I didn't even really, I wasn't even a bodybuilding fan until I was already bodybuilding. I mean, I kind of just fell into it. So
2017 Atlantic States, you won Class B.
Yep.
Couple weeks later, Universe.
Yeah.
First time there. First time at a national level show.
Yeah.
This way, so everybody understands, it wasn't just like, okay, you did your first show, you won. Did your next show, got your pro card, and that was it, right? Explain to them what happened at the Universe.
What happened at Universe was I mean, to this day, Justin will probably try to take credit for it and say oh man, it's partly my fault or whatever. But I think I was just burnt out, man. I was so burnt out. Going into Atlantic States, I didn't think I was going to win, honestly. I knew I was going to be at my best. And I had enough drive and enough motivation to just give 100%. And I think I gave everything I had. And after that, I was so burnt out. I did not want to diet anymore. I wasn't responding. After Atlantic States, I gained 10 pounds, and it took me until the day before Universe to get it off. And I just didn't want to do it, really. So when I came in, Justin was in Chicago with George, and I had my teammate and friend, Rory, you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there with me in the hotel. He took off of work to spend time with me, and he's a great guy. He's such a great guy. He'll give you the shirt off his back and not think twice about it. And he was with me in Teaneck, and I just couldn't. I wasn't filling out. I was nervous. I was stressed out, and I mean, I don't think I spilled. I think I was just super nervous that I was holding a ton of water, and I just looked like shit. I mean, I don't really know how. I just didn't look. I looked bloated. I was really bloated, and I had lost all my confidence at that point. So it just showed in my physique and on stage. I just did not look good.
Yeah, that's a mental roller coaster, though, right? Because you go from first place, right? Everyone's congratulating you. You're feeling on top of the world. You go to the Universe. Whatever happened, right? Maybe a multitude of things, stress, who knows?
Yeah.
So where'd you end up there? Not placing so well.
Yeah, I was I think I was 12th or 11th, somewhere in there.
Right? It wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't where you wanted to
not
be.
great. No. No.
And then just so because you told me this, and this is just so you know, this is one of my driving forces, right?
Yeah.
From this story you told me, because there was a point in my last show, right? So my last competition prior to my last show was 2000. So 17 years later, I'd had this cockamamie idea at 37 years of age. Hey, I'm going to get back on bodybuilding stage, right? Why, I don't know, right? I just can't live without it. So I get on stage. I'm standing on stage with these guys. I'm not even getting a call out. I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Why did I just diet for 7 months to not even get a call out, right? This is crazy. And that was in the open middleweight, which I was 15 pounds light of the class, 14 pounds light of the class, right? So, I mean, it makes sense as to the why, right? In classic, I did much better because everybody was closer in weight. I was sitting there thinking, what am I doing here? And then you said, when we were talking, is when you got off stage at the Universe, your goal was to win the show the next year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's and then you did it, right? So that's the
Yeah.
motivation, that's the driving force to, even though you went on that mental roller coaster, even
Yeah.
though when I got back on stage in Classic, yeah, okay, I got my call out, and you know, I ended up placing third, which people said I could have been first or second. I don't care, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I wasn't going to go pro at the show, so it doesn't make no difference to me what place I get. As long as I look my best, I'm happy. And you know, but the mentality of it, to just keep going no matter
Yeah.
what got in your way at that point, you said, all right, I'm taking this year, I'm going to come back at my best, and I'm going to win this damn show.
Yeah.
And you did it. And I commend that. And I like to look at the mental side of things, because this sport is physical. There's no way you could say it's not physical, but it's
Yeah.
also a million times more mental than people give it
It
credit
so
for.
much is. It really
Right?
is.
Especially now with social media, because years ago, now I'm going to feel like I'm real old now. We had to
Yeah.
wait for the magazines, right? So people are probably
Yeah.
watching, going, what are magazines? Yeah, those things you used to flip through, Flex, Muscle, and Fitness. You had to wait for those to get results that were like 3 to 6 months old. And you're looking through there, and you got pictures of Dorian and stuff. You know, now you're seeing all these people on social media, who's using lighting, who's using filters, who's posting with pumps, who's posting without pumps. And you think, oh, I'm getting ready for the show, I look like crap. When really, and then you see them in person, you're like, man, they look terrible. But on social media, they should have won, you know, whatever show,
Yeah.
the Olympia, whatever it is.
Yep.
You know, it does mess with your mental state for sure. And I think this is more mental than physical, and that's where a lot of people don't understand it. And I think you, especially having been through the recovery process, mentally, you have to be so damn strong, right?
Yeah.
And have to not break down ever. And obviously, clear as day, you transferred it over right into your bodybuilding. Boom, 3 shows, pro card.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I know for a fact you're not going to make your pro debut until you feel you're ready, and that's going to shock a lot of people.
I know.
And you're
Actually,
going to be one of these names that we're talking about, going, who is that guy? Rory Molnar. Who was that?
Yeah.
He just came out of nowhere.
I hope so.
Oh, he's been busting his
so.
butt.
That's the plan.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
That's the plan
For
for sure. And
for sure.
I couldn't agree more with the mental aspect of it, because there are some, it goes the other way too. There's a lot of people that have this really, really strong mental capacity for enduring like these really difficult things in life. And then there's people that have every gift genetically, physically, everything exterior, but they don't have it mentally. And if they could just put it together mentally, they'd be unstoppable. But I mean, you know, thank God some of them don't have it, because they would be taking over the world. I mean, but I surely think that you're right. Like my addiction has turned into something that is definitely a positive for me. You know, I think it bred like a mental toughness that a lot of people get through different things in life. You know, I mean, a lot of people have been through the military. A lot of people have done had some terrible things happen to them, and you know, I feel like that type of pain and that type of endurance really breeds like the ultimate athlete and like a warrior. You know, that's kind of how I like to look at it. Is like, this is like something that I put onto myself, but it's a challenge. It's a discipline that I've chosen to do. So like at any point in time, I can just stop this if I want. You know what I mean? A lot of people have these things that are going on in their life and there's a lot of difficult things that they have to endure that they can't just stop and turn off. So, you know, for me, I always think about it like, this is my choice. This is my decision. And at any moment, if it gets too uncomfortable, I can stop if I want. But am I really willing to be that type of person and just give up, which is never the case for me, you know? I just know that when I put my mind to something, like, I can achieve it. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I can get it done for sure. And I feel like you have that same mental drive too. I mean, like when you were talking about when I got off stage last year, I wanted to win this show, but my real true goal was just to be 100%. At every show after that, I wanted to look my best at every show after that. And if I was the worst guy on stage, that's great, as long as I was my best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was such a terrible feeling being on stage, being so far off that I was embarrassed. I was like, I wouldn't have cared if I was the worst guy on stage, but I wasn't. There was guys that were ahead of me that I beat prior to that, and that I could have beat if I was at my best, I think. And it was just something I never want to feel again in bodybuilding. So
yeah.
that's been always my goal, my driving force for that.
One of the things too, like talk about the mental state. A lot of us in this sport have a propensity to want to rush stuff, right? You want to rush to do your next show. You want to rush the prep. You want to you just want the results, right? You want to look and have striations in your every muscle group and feathers in your quads at 18 weeks out, just because that would be cool, right? I mean, why not? Who doesn't want to have all that stuff come easy? And somebody had messaged me recently about and it came out of the blue, and it was just about taking time and being patient in the sport. And the way I took it was this: if I got my pro card tomorrow, right, I'm gonna wake up, eat the same food, go to the same gym, pick up the same weights that I did if I didn't have my pro card, and I'm gonna follow the same process to do the next show. So in bodybuilding, there is no rushing the sport. Just like in martial arts, right? You get your black belt, and now you're the worst black belt there is, right? You're at the bottom of the totem pole again, just like in bodybuilding. You go from being the best amateur to the worst pro.
That's such a great way to put it.
That's the way it is, right? A good friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. I've been training with him since he's 16 years old, right? Mickey Gall, we'll put his name out there today. He fought in the UFC a couple weeks ago, finished the guy in a minute 9. Yeah, finished the guy in a minute 9, rear naked choke. It's his 5th rear naked choke, right? So locally, in his gym and everywhere else, he's the man. But he gets in the UFC, now he's the smallest fry. But he's doing everything the same as he was doing when he was the man.
Yeah.
There's no rushing that either. You can't rush anything in life. I mean, even if you became the most successful businessman in the world, unless you're retiring completely out of it, you still got to do the same work. So there is no rushing anything. I mean, again, especially in bodybuilding, it's a very patient process. You do construction work, right?
Yep.
You can't rush put a house together.
Yeah.
The foundation's got to take time to dry, right?
Yeah.
You can't rush it.
I mean, everything's going to take time. Everything takes time to be built, for sure.
And there's a process.
I was thinking, it's funny that you brought this up, because I said the same thing to myself the other day. It's like becoming a pro is, let me put it this way. Turning pro ultimately really doesn't mean all that much. Like you said, I mean, now I'm able to compete at a higher level, but I'm still the same person. It still is going to take the same amount of time to put on the muscle and to mature. And there's really no like attainable goal. Like even Phil Heath, when he retires, I bet you he's going to be thinking like, oh man, I wish I could have got one more. You know what I mean? Like there's always that, like whenever you achieve something, there's a next goal. So there's no end game really. Like if I was to be Mr. Olympia this year, what would I be like? Okay, goal,
done. I'm retired.
I would be like, no, I got to get better than I already am. And that's, I feel like, why this sport is so great and why people kind of get burnt out with it at the same time, because they see people that are at a higher level than them. They take it for they've got to be the best. And, I try to, and Justin drives this into my head on a regular basis. It's like, you don't have to be the best. Like, try to be your best, because that's really all that's in your control. And I mean, I think it's like, obviously everybody wants to be the best. This is a competitive sport. You want to be number one. But for me, it's not really necessarily, because I didn't get in it to be in a competitive sport. I got in it because it was something to do, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really enjoyed. So why not do something that you enjoy? I mean, I feel like when you get to a point of like putting so much pressure on yourself, it takes the fun out of it. So like I got in this to have fun. Why am I going to draw that out of there and make it something that it isn't in the beginning for me? because like I said, like if I won the Olympia, I would want to win it again. And I'm just that type of person. I would want to win it until I couldn't win it anymore. And when I couldn't win it anymore, I'd probably be pissed. I'd be upset that I wasn't on top anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people are like that. Like, you talk to like a guy like Dorian, who's a legend in the sport. He's probably my favorite bodybuilder. He'd probably be like, yeah, I wish I could have gone against Ronnie a few more times, because there's always that debate, like, who's better, Ronnie or, I think it's pretty cool though, like that you brought it up that way, because I mean, I feel that, like, what's different now? I mean, I'm just another IFBB pro that's like at the bottom of the barrel right now. I mean, and now I got to prove myself all over again. It felt good being at the top in the amateur ranks, like getting first call out. It's like, now I got to fight for that first call out again next time. So it's cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, I want to talk about that, because you know what, the type of personality I have, we're very similar in that way. When we worked out, I could tell. I have a very like, not addictive, but like a OCD, where I'll turn into that's why, like, my Instagram name changed to Mark the Machine, because people say when I start prepping, right, I turn into a machine, a robot.
Yeah.
I'm on autopilot. My coach, if he emailed me right now and said, I want you to eat 4 pounds of dog crap, I'd probably just do it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even think like, oh my God, I'm eating 4 pounds of dog crap. If that's what he said I needed, I would do it, because I trust him 100%. I may not enjoy it, but that's what I would do. And I think that would work. Okay, cool. It's going to work. I turn into that robot. I'll wait, there's nothing that can get in my way. I won't let anything get in my way, because I turn into like the ultimate preparation person. And once I realized, like, okay, I can turn this off and I can turn it on, it was a powerful tool. And when that IFBB pro bodybuilder had said that to me, I was like, wow, because this guy's in his 40s, right?
Yeah.
He's in his 40s. He's still competing in his 40s. I was like, that's a pretty cool statement, and the way I took it was, there's nothing to rush. There's nothing to even put pressure on yourself. So now it's like, all right, well, if I know this, then I don't have that pressure. Now it's nice and easy for me. I can take my time, do things the right way. And that's the biggest thing, is just not having that, the weight of the world on your back, where it's got to get done now. And that's a luxury too. You know what I mean? That's a very much a luxury, to have that and to know that. And so I want, to share that with those that are watching. And, hopefully that was helpful for some of you guys out there, because I don't think me and you are abnormal in that we struggle with that sort of a thing. I think a lot of bodybuilders, we're all kind of the same, creatures.
I mean, a lot of people, I feel like, they have this like sense of urgency about everything in life, and it's like, I got to get done now. I got to buy a house now. I got to get this new car now. And it's like, yeah, but like, why put so much pressure on the now? Like, once you have it, will you even be able to enjoy it? Like, I mean, for me, like, it was a really difficult thing for me to do that, turning off. I think I did it a little bit better this year, but last year I had a really difficult time, like, turning off prep mode. Like, I was still like geared up to go, even though I wanted nothing to do with cardio or any of the dieting or any of that stuff. I still, like, mentally was like, what's next? Like, what's the next goal? When am I competing again? And to take a full year off took a lot of discipline at first, like, to prepare myself to just kind of decompress and get back to normal life. But this year, I feel like I adapted a little bit better, because I was just happy to be back to having some balance in my life. And, like, finding balance for a lot of people, and myself included, is difficult at times.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With
very difficult.
Bodybuilding, it's like they said, it's a very selfish sport. And, thank God I have a girlfriend and somebody in my life, a lot of people in my life that support my goals in bodybuilding, because, they understand and they're willing to help where they can, because without that, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, for sure. Because nobody's going to put up with us. Like, unless they're almost like, they're already committed in some way. Like, nobody's going to put up with that. Like, you can't be in a new relationship or something and be on prep. People are just like, all right, no, man, I'm not for this. They're like, you can't be at a new job and like be like, I'm going to be late again because I got to do cardio. Like, you can't do that.
You're eating
thank
again.
God I was set up in the situation. Thank God I had the situation that I did and the people in my life to support me, because that's such a huge part of it. And I feel like a lot of people look at the individual and they don't see like the behind the scenes team that puts this whole thing together. Because, you know, from my daughter to my girlfriend to my mother and my father, my family, everybody is right behind me in everything that I do. So it's really cool. And I'm grateful for everybody that's there. There's a lot of people that support me that I don't even know. It's like really cool for people to reach out and tell me that I inspire them and stuff. And it gives me a lot of motivation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily ever really like recognize it all that much myself, even, you know, because I'm used to having the situation that I have. So it's cool, like, to give them a little recognition.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. I mean, the family, people close to you supporting it, without that, it can't be done, period.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely know, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have kids and a wife or a girlfriend or a family at home, like, they take over a lot of the load, which is, I feel like, probably the only way we were able to do this. Because if I was a single father working full time, taking care of a daughter or something, there'd be no way that I could do bodybuilding, nor would I want to. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be able to. So, you know, the way that things worked out, I'm here and I'm able to do this. So, I enjoy it, and I'm willing to do it until I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Did you have anything question-wise as well? Because I think we covered a lot of what I wanted to talk about right there,
no,
which is good.
I answered a lot of the other ones. There wasn't a ton of questions. I think people were like going to ask them on air. I'm not seeing any of the people joining or leaving here. I have like all this old stuff on my feed.
There's not much.
Yeah.
It's probably just me.
So yeah, I mean, how's your prep going? Let's talk about your prep for a little bit.
It's going good. We're at the halfway point. 9 weeks tonight.
Yeah. 9 weeks.
So started 18 weeks out, so we're at the halfway point. I'm lighter than I want to be. You know, I'm like sitting 182, 183.
And you got to be 75.
I'll make weight no problem. That's not an issue. You know, I'll be lighter than I want to be, but I decided that I don't care, because the cool
you're
part
going to be what you're going to be. I mean, at this point, it's too late to put on weight. I mean,
but the cool part is, if I'm 175 at this show and I'm as hard as nails, what am I going to do? I'm not doing the nationals this year because I can't afford to fly out to Florida, and they don't have the over 35 class out there.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do? I mean, that means I can't grow. So at least I have the luxury of being able to grow, and I can do a local show. You know, and that's fun of the fun of the process. You know what I mean? And I'm not happy with the way overall my physique is anyway. So why would I want to? You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy that I have the opportunity to get bigger.
That's good.
That's a blessing. I mean, so I'm happy. I'm happy with the prep. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm very happy. I feel like I added some good size.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to come in just as hard, if not harder, than the last show. So I'm not worried about that either.
I mean, that's like probably the number one thing I think that people, you know, are looking for, especially in classic, is definitely your conditioning. I feel like that's going to put you above anybody else.
Yeah, I think the conditioning and the shape, you know.
You see guys that have great shape, far better shape than the guy who wins the show. But the guy who wins the show has pretty decent shape, but he's insanely conditioned. Yeah. And he's full, and he's got a great tan, and like everything that he can control is on point.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's probably the right way to judge things, because God-given shape is great, but without condition, like, it kind of shows you didn't really put in as much work as the guy who's like totally shredded. I feel like is the right thing.
Not even the God-given shape. You know, I took a lot of time this off season to bring up certain body parts that I felt were lagging. Switched to a lot of single arm stuff and single leg stuff to bring up one side of the body, just to try to keep the symmetry and the aesthetics. So that was my main focus, bringing up my back a little bit more, even though it was peeled. It didn't have the width I wanted, the thickness, the density. So, you know, but again, that's going to be the same stuff. You know, it's just going to be that same process. Like, I'm still going to want to bring up that stuff. I'm still going to want to get bigger legs. I'm still going to want to get. So I look at it and it's funny. So it was so mentally freeing for me, because I was like, well, you know, who cares what the weight is, and who cares as long as I look good on stage, better than my last show. Great. If I need to take another year off, you know, even better, because then I'll be turning 40.
But you can, like, for sure, you can you can win the show with being a few pounds under. Like, it's not like there's people that win the show. They don't have to be at the weight cap.
No,
I mean,
I'm not
it's
worried
not
about
a necessity. It's just a nice thing to know that, okay, I'm as big as I could possibly be. Like,
and
you know, like, that's kind of what I would shoot for usually, but it's really not an indicator or that you're ready even.
Oh no, I could be 175 on stage and look like a Pillsbury Dope too. Right,
exactly.
that's not going to help me.
For sure.
But the thing about it too, it's not, especially in Class A. The beautiful thing for me, because I'm at the top of that height class, so technically, if I'm 175, I'm the biggest guy on stage. Period.
Yep.
Because I'm at the top of the height, 5'6", 5'7", and I'm at that 175. So I'll never have that where, oh, this guy's taller and bigger. I'm that taller, bigger guy all the time, which is great. And then again, like we talked about, I go to the pro shows, I'm gonna be one of the shortest, smallest guys. So it's just that constant, you know. But getting that 10 pounds is big. That's why it's nice you're taking that time to grow to 10 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, 10 pounds is a long ways away. I feel like. I mean, it's going to take some time, but I mean, like you said, I'm not in any rush. I'm going to do the same thing I did last year, and whatever I can put on, I'll put on. But I mean, that's really all I can do, honestly. But
I like the way you said it the other day too. Imagine 10 pounds of chicken. You know, going all over, spread out all over the body. No, it's true, because you see 10 pounds on the scale and 10 pounds of muscle are two completely different things.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
You know, I could gain 10 pounds in 48 hours if I wanted to.
Yeah,
especially during prep. You could eat for 4 days and not be satisfied when you're on a deficit. But that's not going to make me look better.
Yeah,
it's not going to do anything positive.
I mean, and it won't even make you look like you're 10 pounds heavier. Probably it'll just make you look. It make you lose all your lines, basically.
I get so excited. Like, I had a 250-gram carb refeed on Thursday post-workout, and I gained only 0.2 pounds day to day. So from the day before to the next day, I was only at 0.2 after 250 grams of carbs. I was like, man, that's great, because now my body's actually responding to everything I'm doing. It's processing the nutrients. You know what I mean? I'm not holding on water or nothing from it. So that was a good sign for metabolism. Yeah. Yeah, and even after my cheat meals, sometimes I'm losing weight. So
that's the crazy thing. Can you get the charger? Sorry, my phone's like really low on battery. I'm gonna put it on the charger.
No worries, bro.
That's the crazy thing about cheat meals too. Is like sometimes it'll just spike your metabolism. It ends up actually making me lose weight.
Yeah. And sometimes too, like, I know a lot of people, they try to get cute with them and keep them, healthy and just eat a little bit more. I find, for me at least, the junkier it is, the better it is. As long as I don't go overboard and eat too much. You know what I mean? I keep it to where I don't want to feel sick. Just satisfied by it. And then, I notice my wife always makes fun of me, because she's like, she sees me eating my cheat meal. She's like, you're going to be hungry in an hour anyway. What's the difference?
Yeah. Sorry, dude. Hold on. I'm trying to plug this thing in. Do you see it?
It's not plug this light.
Okay, good. Hold on one second. Shit. Is it plugged in? Sorry. I just didn't want it to die halfway in the middle of a topic. What were we talking about? I totally fucked up my. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the same way. Like with the dirtier the cheat meal, the better I respond to it. Like if I eat a clean cheat, it doesn't do anything. I won't even fill out. Like I have to fill out on like crazy amount of food. When we did Atlantic States, I was totally depleted. I actually weighed in at 183, and when I was on stage, I was 193. I gained 10 pounds overnight. The weigh-in there is at 7 p.m. and we were on stage at 9:30 or whatever. 10, or I was like, was there even earlier? I think it was like probably around 9:30 because I did light heavyweight.
Yeah, they got started early.
Yeah, I did light heavyweights and then I did classic, and same deal. I weighed in at 183. I was on stage at 193, so I weighed in 15 pounds under the weight cap. I ended up taking third in that, but I was looking around. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? I was like, I am gonna get totally destroyed. But same deal. I was just totally shredded, and there was a lot of guys who were a little bit fluffy, and the guys who weren't took first and second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when we did the cheat meal that night, we went to Cheesecake Factory, and I ate like, what did I have? Like 4 sliders, a burger and fries, fish and chips, and 2 desserts, and it was like 8,500 calories. Is what they said. And then I had a whole bag. I had a giant orange soda. I almost threw up in the parking lot. I was like, Justin was following me around, like, don't throw up, don't throw up, whatever you do. And then like we got back, I was waiting to get my tan on, and I was like pregnant. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm gonna look good tomorrow. Like, there was no way. It was the most food I've ever eaten in a meal. It was ridiculous. And when I woke up, I was totally like, I was hard as nails, and I was like, all right, Justin, whatever. Like that was the first time he really showed me like he like knew exactly what he was doing. Like he knew my body before I'd ever even done this. And like now the dirtier the cheat meals are, the better I respond. It's like with the grease, like the grease and the fat, like just make me explode.
Yeah. And for everybody watching, we're not condoning going to eat tomorrow. When the body's ready for it, the body's ready for it.
Yeah, you'll know, like when you're
dropping 2-3 pounds a week in prep with barely doing cardio and very very minimal changes to your macros, then you need something.
Yeah. When everything like on your body is like grainy and you're totally dehydrated and like ready for like, I mean, at that point I hadn't eaten all day. For the Atlantic States, I mean, 7 p.m. is a long time to wait without drinking water either. I didn't really drink any water. I rode down there, and this is the middle of the summer. I rode down there in my truck with the windows up and the heat blasting, wearing a sweatsuit. I was like, this is not a good idea to be driving like this. What if I pass out and like crash? But ended up making the weight, so I was like, just ecstatic about that. We were there. I was there early though. I was there at like noon, which was good because I could get my tan, but it was terrible because I had to wait like 7 hours to eat. I was like, this is fucking terrible, man. I should have went.
That's the thing I'm looking forward to the least is the water. Oh,
yeah, that's the worst part.
Oh my God.
Really?
Like once I dread the clock. Like usually we turn it off Friday night at like 7 or 8 o'clock. And just go to like, a couple ounces with every meal usually works for me. Oh man, I dread that so bad. That's the only part of prep that I don't. And getting sprayed. I hate that.
What about? Yeah, I don't mind that so much. I hate the aftermath of like everything that's all over you. Like I just I love the way you look though. Like I mean, there's nothing like it's worth it to me when you walk out and you look like you're like painted. Like it's. I don't know, it looks cool.
Yeah,
I had a great tan this year. Actually, my tan this year was amazing. I did liquid sun rays for the first time and used Bronzing Goddess. This lady Courtney, she's awesome. She was really good. She's out of Long Island, but she does a lot of the local shows around like Jersey and a lot of Bev shows. But she's amazing. And she ended up doing like 6 coats on me, like 2 coats a session. Mm-hmm. And I was darker than I thought I could ever get. Like I didn't even think it was possible. The first
And
coat you put on, I was actually like nervous. I'm like, wow, this is one coat. I was like, I'm gonna be way too dark. Justin was like, no.
At T-neck, you got to be dark. Those lights are
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nice. I think it's definitely helpful to be as dark as you possibly can.
Yeah,
And to have like a good color on you, like a good color that somebody that really knows what they're doing put it on you. Like she does the powder, she does everything. Like I won't use any of the other sponsors anymore because the Liquid Sunrays is just a really good color too. I don't know if you ever used them. It's totally different.
You're gonna have to text me or message me the info because I didn't.
Yeah, I will. Like you should try. You should at least try them one time and see the difference because the color is like it's totally different. Like it just bites your skin. Like for me, like if you exfoliate, like I didn't even exfoliate like crazy because last time I did, I didn't like I had like actually irritation, and I don't really have too oily skin anyway. So I did it once this year, and I was like, the color wouldn't come off me. Like I couldn't get it off. Like I was scrubbing it and it wouldn't come off.
Yeah.
So like that to me is more important than like, you know, the fact that like, oh, it's just convenient because it's at my hotel. Like to me, that doesn't make sense. Like I want a color that is not going to bleed off me. It's not going to sweat off me. Like that is most important to me. Like I just want it to stick.
Yeah.
And the color was like really nice. But yeah, I'll text you the info and everything.
Cool, I appreciate it.
What else? So what's your plan for like when you do peak week? Like how do you do it? Do you usually do you take sodium out? Do you do like what do you do in terms of food? I mean, obviously you do it different every year, but
yeah, I'm curious to see what we're gonna do this year. Last year was so interesting because we didn't know how my body was going to respond because it's been so long since I even thought about a competition. 17 years away from the stage was like wacky. So I was ready to roll way ahead of time. So we just changed everything up and we started doing. I actually ate into the show for the last 4 weeks. I was eating massive amounts of food, which was cool. So I got to fill out way in advance, and then we cut sodium in half. I was able to keep sodium in, but cut it in half. Water I was keeping at even the day of the weigh-ins Friday because I was so light. I drank a gallon of water before I got to the venue. I just wake up very dry naturally. So we kept the food the same. I was eating like what was it, 40 grams of carbs each meal for the whole week.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's a lot to fill out with.
Yeah, so I was using. Oh no, it was 30. It was 30. It was
that's
30 a meal. So it was like 180 a day. Yeah, it was like 180 a day. I was using coconut
oil. Like I could
oil.
stay pretty full on like 180, 200, like 250. Like I'm pretty full on that, honestly.